Alright, so I'm back after a long hiatus. So this is the YouTube video that we are going to do today. As you can see over here, this is quite a unique project because it's something new that I never done before, a light installation project. What you see earlier just now was making the boards to be together, as I need to make the thickness of 30 millimeters. That's why I place the boards to be together to make a big circle. And now what I'm doing in this situation is to use a template to cut out the legs, or what I also call the supporting arms for the light structure. A slow process that I did with laser cutting on 3 millimeters acrylic before transferring them to be marked onto the plywood that you can see over here. So doing this makes me ensure that I don't cut or I don't do any drawing that is free form. Having this template makes everything to be more precise, to be more stable, and when I cut, can follow the line as according, and if I need to do any amendments, I can do it from and with the drawing itself. Okay, now so you can see over here using the big pencil, I'm cutting along the line that I'm drawing the template to get the shape out. Moving on to the second piece. So this is what I do slowly in order to get the angle. And last but not least, the third piece. As you can see, this is how I cut. I cut out the small straight line first before moving on to the longer lines. And this is the part that I like the most because it's everything coming to fruition. Yep, I cut one piece by one piece on my own and joining them together with some 1.5 inch screws. 1.5 inches, if we were to convert it into metric system, is about 37 millimeters in terms of the screws. The whole thickness of this is 90 millimeters. Before moving on to sand away the burn mark that is caused by the bandsaw due to slow cutting, I have to do it slowly and to ensure that there's no breakage due to the curvature. So that's why there bound to be some little burn marks that I'm using 100 grit sandpaper to sand it off before using the flat sander. Now you can see over here, this is something that I have always been trying to figure out. If let's say I'm doing it alone as a one-man show, or what we call a one-man operation, how do I do things and make thing or the process easier? Sometimes I also wonder that instead of using pure brute strength, if I have a partner with a new extra pair of hands, would things be better? Well, I'm not sure, man. Yes, I can handle it on my own too, but will it be sustainable for the long run? Who knows? Now, marking the center point, because I actually make this piece to be larger than the circle that I'm going to cut. The circle's diameter is about 1.5 meters or 1500 millimeters. So this plywood itself, if I remember correctly, is about 1.9 by 1.8 meters. Doing a test route first with the plunge router to see how the whole circle will turn out. The first route, I always do it at about 1 millimeters in depth. So you can see over here, this is how I do. To ensure that the whole circle is formed, is something like what I call a pre-cut or a pre-marking. Many people would not agree with what I'm doing for the first round, but This is how I do it. I want to ensure that the whole circle is accordingly to how I'm going to cut or how I'm going to route after the end. This is what I get, the whole circle on its own. The people also tell me that while I'm doing this, I'm going to waste a lot of material. Why can't I just use CNC machine? But sometimes we have to understand that CNC machine is a process where you also cut out materials from materials exactly, and you may have some wastage. So this is a easier way or faster way in my opinion. Now the second part, so this is something that I like the most while watching YouTube videos and asking help from my mentor on how to cut a oval shape or how to route an oval shape out. Same thing, a pre-route before I move on to route out the oval shape. You can see I'm doing it very slowly, and at all times I'm looking at how the jig is moving. It's a slow process. I did it quite a few times. I don't dare to do it so fast. Now moving on, the next part is to join the arms together with the core of the light structure. This is how I do it with some pre-hole first before drilling in with the screws. So the pre-hole, or how I call it, in fact it's actually called pilot hole. So I did pilot hole first to make the hole easier for me to drill in the screws. And then joining back the whole core together to form the whole structure. Well, this is a process that I like the most because after marking out the center point, I'm using this core with the arms to find out whether everything is in line, is equal position. Because it's essentially for me, if let's say I erect the whole light stand up, it has to be able to support the whole entire weight. So this base itself is considered the core base where it holds everything. And marking out from the bottom so that I can do some spider hole and do screw in. Yep, same thing. I do it like this. Try to make everything equal in position. Sticking them up is a fun process because it's like one step closer towards completion, in my humble opinion. Although it's not the end yet, but it's like things are coming. It's also exciting and scary at the same time because I don't know whether it will work. Now, after sticking them together, which I didn't video in the process because due to my phone running out of battery, but it worked out. So now I'm doing the top where I'm cutting a circle that diameter of about 200 millimeters. And this is how I do a routing. So I do a groove to put the LED strip that is going to emit out the lights. Of course, I have to use a air gun to blow out rather than just my hand. And using the same step again, I'm doing the routing to make the groove for the base, the circular base. That's what you can see over here. And moving on back to the oval shape, this is how I do the routing too. Except this time round, I don't have to route the whole oval shape out. I'm just routing a depth of about 10 millimeters, about 1 centimeters. Just nice for the LED. And this is the process where I need to grind the threaded insert because it's too long for my plywood. As you can see over here, my plywood is about 50 millimeters and the threaded insert is 25 millimeters. So that's why I have to assess and trim it out before cutting the holes and do the marking. So this is the end.